flow with it.
Yeah, flow with it. Look, I'm trying to.
Now you're borderline noise violation and using foul language in public. I know you're rapping to a song, but people live up here in these apartments and stuff. And the number one people get complaints here is noise.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, they're a
Hey, bro, y'all be easy, man.
They get noise too, but you guys are out here in the street causing noise as well. So it's the same thing as if someone was in the parking lot causing noise. You know what I'm saying?
So we're violating what, the noise ordinance, or?
You would be. You're borderlining and civil disturbance because you're. I know you're just rapping the music.
It's freedom of speech. You can't do that.
Is this a warning? Is this a warning?
Okay, now you're crossing it. I can understand the ordinance, but now you're going into the speech thing. You can't say, you're cursing in public.
Listen to what I'm saying. If you start cursing in public and people gather around you, that's now become a civil disturbance.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's not.
So who would be surrounding us?
Well, you're out here in public.
Right, but there's no. We're not
People,
really.
people live up here, so it's public, so it's a society.
Right.
I'm just giving you a fair warning, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. This is Hickory. This is downtown. This is how we handle it.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just being straight up.
Yeah. No, I get it. It's just there's a certain threshold I don't want you to cross. Your job is to uphold the Constitution. That's freedom of speech.
Sure.
We're here. You're talking about theoreticals and situations that aren't happening. Okay.
Well, okay, but I'm trying to stop it from happening.
Is it a warning?
Right.
Is it a warning?
Because if it's happening, then it becomes enforcement.
Okay. So we being disorderly, or like what would be the charge?
You're close to it because he's rapping out loud, cursing out loud.
Okay.
So if someone comes out and gets offended and starts arguing with him,
Gotcha.
then it becomes a civil disturbance.
I see what you're saying now.
Sorry
Okay.
about that, sir.
Okay.
It's okay, man. It's
Right.
okay. You're into it. I got it.
I am.
I gave you some time. I said maybe he'll catch on.
Yeah.
You know, a couple bars of music is one thing, but
Yeah.
I get it. Music.
Yeah.
This type of music, especially cursing, people get into it. I get it, right? But
Absolutely.
I'm trying to mitigate problems here.
Yeah.
We don't need problems here because it gets problems. It gets out of control.
Sounds good.
So we're good to go, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys are good to go.
So just so I'm not trying to be Low, right?
Yeah.
Officer Low. I'm not trying to be an asshole or anything like that. I want there to be a fine line between you not doing this freedom of speech thing. What your concern was the disorderly part and us being out here in the noise ordinance. It wasn't this freedom of speech part, right?
It's got nothing to do with freedom of speech.
That's it.
Freedom
That's all I
of
wanted
speech,
to do. I want to make sure, because if I'm out here and I do cuss, there's really nothing you can do about it. You know what I mean?
Unless it offends somebody and they start becoming a civil disturbance.
Right, but nobody came up to you. You can't be the complaining party as an officer. You can't be the complaining party. It had to be somebody else. So nobody came up to you.
I can be a complaining party because it's society.
You
Does
can't
that make
be
sense?
not on
You're
duty.
still a civilian.
I'm telling you, you can't. I promise you,
Okay.
you can't. But we'll agree to disagree.
That's fine if we agree to disagree, but I'm just telling you.
You cannot be the complaining party.
Okay, listen.
I would.
I'm just trying to explain to you that people
Talk
live
to a
here.
sergeant.
People live
Tell
here, and they start noticing these issues. They call and complain. Okay, does that make sense?
I definitely understand.
So society.
Right.
All right, but I understand what you're saying.
Yes.
You're saying that I'm a police officer.
You can't be the
I can't be
complainer.
offended.
Right.
Which
You
is
can't be the
totally wrong.
You can't be offended.
Because if someone assaults me, I become a complainant. Correct?
Okay.
Right
I'm
or
not
wrong?
gonna be disrespectful, but if I'm right here and I say fuck you, you're a pig.
That's okay.
Exactly. You can't do nothing.
Because I'm not offended.
Right. Okay. Even if you were offended, and I kept on, I could keep going and prove my point, but I'm not gonna. Because I like you, Lo. I really do. But I'm trying to prove a point here that it's freedom of speech. It's not the noise ordinance. It's the freedom of speech that I'm concerned.
I'm not arguing with you.
So I could sit here and I could cuss all I want.
To a certain extent.
Right. Okay.
To a certain extent.
As long as it's not directed towards somebody.
It's to a certain extent.
Okay.
Come on,
We're gonna agree to disagree.
You got my card,
But,
bro. Tap in with me, bro.
I've done this for a very long time.
I understand.
I'm very well
I'm
versed
just
in
explaining
the
it to you to a
Constitution,
certain extent.
and I have case law to back up everything that I'm saying.
That's awesome.
You know what I'm saying? So
That's awesome.
I'm letting you know you are wrong. I would advise you to look up on the law just a little bit. You know what I'm saying? I've done this for a very long time, and I know you can't be the complaining party, and I can sit here. You have a good one, man.
What's up, y'all? This is definitely a touchy subject because where do you draw the line between an officer harassing you and an officer actually being a complainant? Is it legal for an officer to complain about your noise ordinance and the noise that you're making? Because then it becomes disorderly conduct. and an officer might pass by. You might be on the streets rapping, just like these young gentlemen were doing, and the officer doesn't like what you're rapping about. You might be cursing. The officer doesn't like the fact that you're cursing. Is the officer allowed to walk up to you and say something? Now, you will have people who will buck back at the officer. This man didn't. I can't say he did. He actually challenged the officer politely. You will have people who will get nasty with the officers. You will have people who will challenge the officers in a way that is threatening. Y'all have to remember that these are still police officers. They still have to uphold the law. And just like he said, that officer has to uphold what? The Constitution. And it gets tricky when it comes to freedom of speech and disorderly conduct, because you could be loud in the streets. We know, we've seen those people. Some people don't have a volume button, so they speak very loudly. They scream when they speak. And so whatever they say, it resonates amongst everyone else. When they're in public, people hear everything that they're saying. I know a couple of people like that. They have no filter and they have no volume button. None at all. So whatever comes to mind, they say it and they're loud with it. Now, can an officer say something to someone like that if they hear them, if they're that loud? The police officer said you could be cursing and people come outside of the building. By the way, they're in front of a bar which is resonating sound, music loudly, which to me, again, I don't understand. I don't get it. Unless you're paying the city some type of taxes, some type of revenue they're making from you, then you can be loud. Is that where we are? Is that what they're talking about? Because I actually did look this up, and he was challenging the officer about what? Being a complainant. He said the officer cannot be a complainant. Well, it is said that an officer can be a complainant. Look this up, and it says, disorderly conduct laws aim to maintain public order and address behaviors that disrupt peace or safety. Police officers may sometimes act as complainants in these cases, raising questions about the implications of this role. Meaning what? That officer has the ability to be a complainant if they hear that you are playing music too loudly. And I get it. It makes sense, because if I'm in my car and I'm bumping music loudly, I have a system in my car, and the music is so loud that it's disrupting the peace, an officer can actually stop you for that. Yes, it's a noise, or they can give you a noise ordinance. It is disorderly conduct. But these men were outside in front of a bar on the streets playing a beat and rapping to it. Where do you draw the line? Where do you draw the line? Because I don't see they weren't doing anything wrong, or I personally don't see what they were doing wrong. Now, if an officer approached me while I was on the streets rapping loudly with, music playing loudly, I wouldn't challenge him in a nasty way, but I would do exactly what this young man did. I would challenge him. I would, if I knew the law. See, a lot of people don't know the law. Some people will say, well, this is freedom of speech. I can say whatever I want to. I can curse at you. Well, again, it gets kind of tricky, because police officers' role as complainants in disorderly conduct cases stem from their responsibility to uphold public order. State statutes often authorize law enforcement to initiate complaints based on observed conduct that breaches peace. Many jurisdictions allow officers to file complaints for behavior deemed tumultuous, threatening, or disruptive, ensuring disturbances are swiftly addressed. So yes, a police officer can be a complainant, and he can approach you, and he can tell you to turn your music down. He can tell you that you're rapping too loudly. He can say that you are disrupting the peace, even though it is freedom of speech and you are allowed to say, well, let's be real. Freedom of speech went out the window years ago. We've been, censored before. We went through a whole censorship era during COVID-19 where they were censoring people. You couldn't speak on the virus. You couldn't say certain things. So freedom of speech has been censored before, and it's still being censored now. There's certain things you can and can't say on these platforms. So is speech really free? I ask you, leave a comment in the comment section if you believe that speech is free and you can actually say whatever it is you want. Because for you to say, fuck the law, or, you know, fuck a police officer, put your middle finger up, are you allowed to do that to a police officer? Can the police officer say and arrest you? Can they give you a ticket, a citation? What can a police officer do when you are being belligerent towards them? Because I have seen several people, by the way, be belligerent towards an officer and tell the officer to kiss their ass, tell the officer they ain't shit, tell the officer they work for them and they pay them, they pay their salaries, they can do whatever they want to do. Yes, I've seen people do these things. I've seen them argue with the police officers, challenge police officers. Some police officers don't do anything about it, and then you have those who actually exercise this right that they have to be a complainant and, yes, put out a complaint if you are displaying disturbing behavior, especially in public. So that officer said what? If y'all are out here rapping and you say something offensive, guess what? Someone comes out and they hear it and they feel offended. Well, I guess they can complain on you, which we all know 2025, we're living in the soft era. Everybody is soft nowadays. Nobody has a hard shell anymore. Everybody is offended by everything. You can't even joke anymore. Comedy is not the same anymore because comedians walk a fine line between what's comedic and what's offensive to people. Yes, so things are just not the same. Everybody is just soft nowadays. Everyone's in their feelings. And do you think this officer was in his feelings, or could he have just let them slide with their rapping? Because that's all they were doing. I didn't see them truly disturbing the peace at all. But I also don't know what's around that area, because if there's housing around the area like the police officer said, then I could see people not wanting to hear that. But then again, I raised the question of there's a bar right across the street and we could hear the music coming from the bar. So how come he did not go into the bar and tell them that they were disturbing the peace? Leave a comment. Let me know what y'all think about this video. Was this young man correct at challenging this police officer and telling him that he didn't want him to cross that threshold and that fine line between disorderly conduct and freedom of speech? Until next time. If you like this video, like, share, and subscribe to the channel for more content.